Dynasty Podcast. I'm JT, joined by Frank and Lounis, and this is our fourth season. Week 1 is here. We finally have actual games to report on. I'm just going to dive right into it. Shout Parker. He's one of our viewers. Parker suggested we lead off with the rookie report. So that's what we're going to do. And leading us off is, I feel like one of you guys actually liked him preseason. That is Puka Nacua out of BYU. He went off on the Rams in what was known as like the, I would say, Cooper Kupp role, right? I think that's how I classify it. But he had 10 receptions for 119 yards off 15 targets, which is unheard of. I think Desmond Ridder on the Falcons passed the ball 19 times. Puka Nacua had 15 targets for the Rams. So that is very impressive, a very strong showing for week 1. I'm sure he's going to be flying off the waivers if he wasn't drafted in leagues. What do you guys think? Are we actually in on Puka, or is this just a sham?
I kind of am, to be honest with you.
I was going to say, especially while Cooper Kupp is out. What were we going to say?
Here's my one argument, though, and I did not see this. I saw this on Twitter. I will say they've been kind of missing that player in that Robert Woods secondary type of role, a guy that can just kind of win one-on-one man coverage as a tertiary option to someone like Cooper Kupp, who's like an actual dominant number one. So I do think that Puka Nacua can stay around. Now, admittedly, I think that person you were talking about was me because I have him in a handful of leagues. I'm just curious as to what the price tag is on him right now, though, because I think he's one of these players that is in complete no man's land in terms of what valuations would be.
Early second.
Really jumps all the way up to an early second for you.
I think he's an early second. I don't think anyone's going to move off him for anything less than was.
Would anyone buy right now for an early second?
I doubt it.
I think there are people that'd be willing to jump on a 15 target rookie receiver. Like that is.
It is pretty impressive for your first game as a rookie getting 15 targets.
I don't know.
He broke like records or like most since like super long ago.
You guys are making me do a deep dive here. Yeah, he had about half as many targets as Sky Moore did in Sky Moore's entire rookie season. And Sky Moore was in early second, late first in his draft. But yeah, if I'm pulling up like Justin Jefferson, who had like an all-time rookie season, right? Like Justin Jefferson, I don't think had anywhere close to 15 targets in a game in his rookie year. It doesn't give me that breakdown. All right, I'll probably have to go to Sleeper to do that. But yeah, 15 targets is not like to me, that's not really a fluke. Like that's you're a good player if that's the case. And yeah, whether or not it's all manufactured and that is like the Cooper Kupp rule and whatnot, like even if Cooper Kupp comes back, which who knows how long that's going to be, it seems like this hamstring thing is a little more complicated than originally thought. I don't know. Like, are we scared of Tutu Atwell? Are we scared of Van Jefferson? Like are those the guys that are going to keep Puka off the field? I say no. Like these guys, we've seen them before. We kind of know what they are. Like Puka, we've seen one game and we've seen a 15 target game out of him. I just pulled up Jamar Chase's rookie season, which was like, I think, record setting. Never had 15 targets. His highest was 13.
Well, yeah, one thing I will say is that you're right. None of the other options are scaring me in terms of, Puka Nacua is, they're going to like completely destroy him and he's going to be irrelevant. Because if Puka Nacua is actually that good, then he's going to get that many targets. And even when Cooper Kupp comes off the field, I mean, it's Van Jefferson who's the one that's not going to get targeted in that scenario. So listen, I really don't know what to do with my Puka Nacuas. My immediate instinct is to just sell if I can get an early second, or maybe transition into an Elijah Moore. But at the same time,
oh, really, an Elijah Moore?
Just because, dude, I like Elijah Moore as a prospect is just a little bit crazy. But you are right; it's almost such an absurd first rookie game. Like,
yeah.
It's like
we have nothing really to like compare it to.
Yeah, this might just be the outlier, right? Like this might just be the outlier, and then if I hold, I might be able to get a first. or he's like nasty, right? So I'm very confuzzled. I think I'm just going to end up holding and keep riding the lottery tickets.
I'd probably hold. I mean, if I get that early second offer, though, like, I think I would take it. But I don't know who's sending that out.
2 and a 3.
I'm offering a 2 and a 3 for Puka in our home league right now.
Who has him in our league?
I think Andrew.
Andrew?
We'll see. This could be a terrible move by me. Because, I mean, look, if he doesn't accept my trade, Puka Nacua is going straight to the moon. If he does accept my trade, I'm sorry, everyone, but
he's having like 2 catches for 16 yards.
Travis Fulgham, yeah. We're never going to see him again. All right, but actually, speaking of absurd targets, Zay Flowers also had a crazy target share for the Baltimore Ravens. Actually, I'm going to pull up the stats for the Ravens too, just so I make sure I get it right. But Zay Flowers easily led the Ravens in targets. I think he had 10. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. As I'm
and 9 catches on the 10 targets.
Yeah. No one else was particularly close. Cold water on this would be that Mark Andrews was out. So, is that affecting your guys' opinion at all yet? Has this changed anything about Zay Flowers for you guys? Let me put
a little bit, because I think he's vaulted from late first territory immediately into I'd probably need a first and a second to move, because now I kind of want to hold. And strictly speaking, I think more so than Puka Nacua, but Zay Flowers and the person we're going to talk about next, Luke Musgrave, they just fucking look the part, man. You know, it's just kind of like your first game. They just look like they're fucking good players, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, Zay Flowers is the only guy in that Ravens game that seemed like he was the reliable target on the field. It kind of like was a very disappointing game for Odell. Rashod Bateman's all right. It's just unfortunate because you expected Rashod Bateman to be, you know, a 20% plus target share kind of guy. Not that he looked particularly horrible. He just doesn't seem to be that dude. But Zay Flowers just seemed like he was head over heels the best target on the field. And once again, even when Mark Andrews comes back, I still think that Zay Flowers had a 42% target share.
Yeah, he had 10 targets on 22 passes.
He could have that, and it's still phenomenal. Like, you're still jumping for joy, right? Like,
yeah, this was also
nuts.
This was also a team that, I mean, the Ravens did not need to do much to beat these Texans. Lamar only passed it for 169 yards.
But I thought it was encouraging that even like in kind of like the limited amount of passing yards, like it's not like he had his production on a day like Lamar.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah, this is like low level case. I mean, how many times are we going to see Lamar only pass for 169 yards in a game? You know, so there's room for an improvement. Like, he could go up. I'm not yet fully pulling the trigger on Zay Flowers. Like, I'm not giving up the first and the second probably yet for Zay Flowers. But if I had Zay Flowers, it would be much harder for me to trade for anything less than that. So I think I agree with you there, Frank. But
yeah, you're no longer in the boat of, oh yeah, I'll trade him for the random first.
Yeah.
And then I think he's above the guys like Treylon and kind of those more questionable late first players, right? Mm-hmm. Skull, if Puka Nacua is on waivers, I would be doing 1,000% of the fab. I would be trading for one more fab than everyone else has so that I can guaranteed get him.
Yeah. All right, let's move on though to, because we have so many different players to talk about. Frankie, you were just mentioning him, Luke Musgrave. He had a good game for, I mean, most of the Packers did, to be honest, but Luke Musgrave.
Yeah, we could get past the praise because, like, at least if you guys think he sucked, go ahead. But he just looked really great. It matched everything that we had heard and saw in preseason, which is extremely encouraging for such a young offense. I'm just curious as to what his price tag is right now. Has he kind of breached the first round territory that, not saying that that's what he should be valued at, but once again, like the people that have Luke Musgrave probably liked him a lot pre-draft, and it's only been up arrows straight up in the air for him.
As I'm trying to pull up trades involving Luke Musgrave recently.
in a realm where all the tight ends sucked last week, like.
Well, I wouldn't say so. The problem is we were without like the main guys in Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, and then everyone else just is kind of irrelevant. Like
I saw a stat. It was like I forgot which tight end it was, but the leader in tight end with tight ends in yards this week was like 56, which was crazy.
Yeah,
across the league.
Yeah, this might be that year. You know how like we always refer back to as I can't connect to the site to look at trades. We refer back to different like draft classes, like the Saquon years of running back class and stuff like that. This might be the tight end class because I think there have been a lot of good tight ends that have come out of it.
Right,
Luke Musgrave being one. We're about to touch on another real quick. I don't know. A first round pick still feels a little bit too much for me at this point for Luke Musgrave, considering that you could probably get some of these other rookie tight ends for that first round pick as well, and I might just rather pivot that way. I don't know, Frank, would you give up the first for Musgrave?
I just think that he's got to be pretty darn close. I mean, I'm looking at the trade, so I see Luke Musgrave for Treylon straight up. Oh man, 9-10 Luke Musgrave for Kadarius Toney straight up. That feels so bad.
That's terrible.
Mixon and Musgrave for 2 seconds and a third. Musgrave for Mayfield a third and a fourth. When were the games though? This was on.
They were on 9-10. 9-10.
Okay, so there's only been 4 trades. Dalton Kincaid, J.K. Dobbins, and a first for Javonte Williams and Luke Musgrave. I mean, these recent trades seem to be much closer towards the first round pick. Going for Treylon straight up, I still think that Treylon has a very slight argument for the late first round valuation, so that seems pretty fair for where Musgrave is at.
Where was Musgrave going in ADP? I'm trying to find him.
I think he was a late second, or actually even a third. In rookie drafts?
In startups, he was a 13 rounder. Would you rather have him or Treylon right now? Like you were mentioning Treylon earlier.
I think I'd still rather have Treylon by a smidge, but it's really close. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure in that. I'd have to really think about it.
Well, Treylon was a 6th rounder, or is a 6th rounder in startup ADP. So it seems like there's going to be a hefty boost for Luke Musgrave, just simply based off that. The first still feels like a lot for me right now.
Well, a move that I would honestly be considering now. I'm just not sure I want to do it because the league that I have Kittle in, trying to really contend, but seeing if right now you could still get Musgrave in like a second for Kittle, or Musgrave in something for Kittle, if someone's still willing to bite on that because it's so early for Musgrave. Mm-hmm. That person thinking like they're selling really high. I've just gotten to, maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid too much. I just don't think Musgrave is going to fail anymore. Like I don't really consider that as a very likely scenario anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that was a solid rookie game. And speaking of solid rookie games for tight ends, Sam Laporta also had a pretty good game in his first game back, or first game of the season with the Lions against the Chiefs. It was only 5 receptions for 39 yards, but in tight end world, in the grand scheme of tight end world, that's whatever. But for rookie tight end, that's
first
pretty darn good.
Too. Yeah,
that's pretty darn good. I feel like I was encouraged by Sam Laporta. I did not have high expectations for him going into this week specifically, but this year as a whole as well. And he already has 5 targets on the season as a rookie tight end. It's just kind of been refreshing seeing these rookie tight ends get in, immediately start playing, and actually putting up numbers. We haven't truly seen that recently. I'm also in on Sam Laporta. I think I'd probably give up a first for Sam Laporta before I did Luke Musgrave.
Really? Because I'm on the opposite side of the coin a little bit. I'm not really huge into Sam Laporta because I think that he's a player that this is what we're going to see for the dawn of time, is these 5-target, 4-target, 6-target type games, and that he just doesn't possess the upside of like an actually top 5 type finish tight end without scoring a shit ton of touchdowns.
So
go ahead, Lounis.
I was going to say, I would probably value both at around a late first at the minimum. I lean JT's side where I'd feel more comfortable giving it up for Laporta. I think he's going to be a dominant part of that offense. And I thought he looked good week 1, and in general, I liked him coming in. But like, I think you can make the case considering like the tight end field as it is now, and then even like the few good ones that there are, like Kelsey is like getting old, so he's gonna eventually, at some point eventually be kind of phased out of that top tier. Waller can't stay healthy, etc. I would think it's worth it giving up the late first and tight end premium leagues for either of these guys. More so Laporta. Musgrave I can kind of understand, but
I see. I'm on the opposite side. I'm not giving up the first.
Is it by like a wide margin?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. Not like actual wide, price difference, like, not super like wide. But okay, if I'm gonna put it in startup draft terms, I think I'm taking Kincaid and Musgrave like 2 rounds higher than I'm taking Laporta.
Two rounds higher. Okay.
It sounds a lot more drastic than it is. It's like that 9th round compared to 7th round, right? Going from Deontay Johnson to like Alvin Kamara, right, this year, which isn't crazy. Maybe more like a round and a half then.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we got the rookie quarterbacks on here. I mean, you guys have anything in particular you wanted to mention around them?
Just real quick on the other tight ends, I also do think Kincaid looked pretty good. Michael Mayer, I'm kind of out on. And then
out on.
Well, I've just kind of already been out on him, so it's just confirming priors, and I'm not going to change yet. But
okay. I mean, I understand if you were already out on him, but like week 1 of his rookie year.
No, but it's actually
he played like the entire game.
Yeah, but it's very refreshing to see these. His problem though is, I mean, now Jacoby Myers is in concussion protocol, but Michael Myers is going to be behind both those guys pretty firmly. I feel like when they're both healthy, in Jacoby and Devontae. But yeah, it was refreshing to see these other tight ends all actually getting involved like right away. Like it was they're checking the boxes, right? Because they're athletic, most of them. They're high draft picks. They're getting targets right off the bat. Like, it's encouraging to see this where we weren't necessarily seeing that with many tight ends in previous seasons. But yeah, moving on to the rookie quarterbacks, I guess we'll start off with probably who had the most impressive rookie performance, and I would say that would be Anthony Richardson. Feel free to disagree if you guys do. He's the guy though that I so out on. I want nothing to do with Anthony Richardson. I'm not willing to change my tone completely yet, but
were you impressed?
It made me feel a little wrong already, just in terms of like, I didn't think they were going to be able to move the ball down the field with him. And they were highly competitive in this game. They were, onside kick or whatever away from really putting it on the Jaguars. Like, they held firm against Trevor Lawrence. Like, that offense was able to compete against the Jags. So in that regard, I do feel already a little bit wrong in terms of like, I didn't think Anthony Richardson was a starting quarterback in the league, and it looks like he probably is. How good Anthony Richardson's going to be, and is he worthy of like that borderline first round startup pick ADP? Like, I don't know yet.
Would you rather have Anthony? This for both of you. Would you rather have Anthony Richardson or Justin Fields?
Anthony Richardson. That's a different story though with Justin Fields. We could get on that later.
What about you, Frank? I'm taking Richardson.
Ooh, I might take Richardson.
The thing about Anthony Richardson is, like, we know what Justin Fields is now, which he does have that really exciting rushing upside when he's out there, but we know he's that guy who takes too long. He holds the ball. Frank has coined it in our group chat. He likes to play hero ball. I'm worried about Justin Fields in that regard. Where with Anthony Richardson, like this could be the start of like crazy, just high output games, one right after the other. Because if you remember with Justin Fields, we didn't see that right away. They were afraid to even use Justin Fields. Whereas Anthony Richardson, we got the guy right in here. We are running him into the end zone. We are moving the pocket, getting good throws. Michael Pittman had, I think, like 10 targets. Like he was actually throwing the ball pretty well. So it was a good game for Anthony Richardson. Much better than, if we want to move on, I would say the other two, but specifically Bryce Young, I don't think really had a good game.
Well, one thing I want to say is that I just think that Panthers team is a complete clown fiesta.
Terrace Marshall, I think, was his top receiver, which we've talked about Terrace Marshall a lot.
And whether Mingo sucks or they just have no chemistry, he's not getting acclimated either, right? So there's just no one with talent to go with the ball to. DJ Chark, I think, is going to come back in week 2, so maybe that's the saving grace. I doubt it. So I just think that this is going to be a really ugly Panthers season. And it stinks because their defense is all right, but it's not good enough to just carry. So yeah, it's just going to be a dud year for Bryce Young. And you honestly just hope that he doesn't get fucking hurt. Like,
yeah, well,
I'm honestly like, maybe this is a week 1 overreaction, but just play him half the season and sit him. Because you're not winning anything. There's no point. Like, it's only for reps. It's only for reps and playing for next year. This team is not going to the playoffs.
And that division's pretty weak, but even then, they're not going.
I mean, they didn't give up their first last year or this year, right? Did they?
That'd be bad for them if they did. Let me pull it up. Bears, Panthers.
Because I mean, I guess because the defense is decent. If they start balling out and they don't get any injuries, and they're able to start running the ball, maybe they can squeak in some wins and finish with like 6 wins on the year.
They gave up their 2024 first rounder.
But yeah, the Bears got that. I mean, good for the Bears because they wasted one on Claypool. So at least they're able to get one back, and I think that's going to be a top 10.
Yeah. Oh, we should. I mean, there's no point in talking about him that much, but Claypool is definitely panic meter on him, and it's just not been looking good. And I think lastly for these rookie reports,
CJ Stroud. Yeah, it's a rough performance for CJ Stroud, but it's not like anything completely crazy. He was at least able to get his receivers some decent production. So from a fantasy standpoint, maybe you have some hopes for a guy, especially Nico Collins, for where he was priced at in the offseason. He could be a dude that's sneaky productive as like a flex play for a good amount of the year.
Yeah. He's not one that I would probably invest in Dynasty just because I think that he could easily be replaced. But
now it's like a little too late, right?
Yeah, for this year. Even now, I'm not sure what Nico Collins we're going to get. Like, are we going to get 8 targets a week from Nico Collins? Maybe.
The problem is that if Josh Palmer is on that team, he'd be doing the same fucking thing that Nico Collins is doing right now. And we just saw what happened to Josh Palmer.
Yeah. Well, Josh Palmer is still technically the wide receiver 3, but
I guess we don't have to talk about this guy. I was going to go into Dameon Pierce. Let's get into the injuries.
Okay. Well, obviously, like what we could have let off with too, because how big of news it is. Aaron Rodgers played 4 snaps for the New York Jets and tore his Achilles, out for the season. People are talking about his career. I don't know how. I'm not going to speculate on that yet, but just brutal for the Jets. I was talking with Parker, who's one of our viewers, before the episode. To me, I think, and Frank, you and I were watching the game together, I think this team operated best when they're out of that 2-back set, when you had Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook both on the field. I think this is a team where essentially if you're not Garrett Wilson and you're a pass catcher, you're done. I'm not looking for any of those other guys. Randall Cobb, Allen Lazard, Mecole Hardman, useless to me this year. I don't trust any of them to give me any points now with how this Jets team is currently constituted. So to me, I think this is a world where Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook can coexist. But when you see Breece Hall and how he's able to move on the field compared to Dalvin Cook, who's getting tackled by safeties when he's nearly has a wide open lane, I think this is clearly Breece Hall's backfield, and this is who he's going to eat if he's healthy. What are your thoughts?
Well, I completely agree, because Dalvin Cook looked like he's lost a step. That first things first. I mean, maybe it was just that game, but he really did look like he lost a step. And the fact of the matter is that this team, their offensive line is so much better when they are downhill attacking the defense than when they are pass blocking and letting the defense come to them. I mean, you saw it with Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
That was probably not going to be a pretty game if he was playing. I think they still win.
Some may say he gets sacked like 7 times if he's there. 7 plus. But yeah.
So JT accidentally took a bet on the Bills to record 7 sacks, which he was really close to getting by the end of that game.
Yeah. Yeah, this offensive line though, yeah, when they're paying pass protection, it was pretty gross. But
well, like you said, Breece Hall, he looked phenomenal. He looked like insanely dynamic,
I will say,
making guys miss all 3 phases of running, right? All 3 phases of the field.
I will say, I don't know if it's just his mentality right now or if he's just not fully back, but on that second run I think he had, I think a fully healthy last year Breece Hall, he's taking that to the house. He's not getting caught. Which is like the slight difference, I would say. But maybe as the season goes on, he feels better or whatever. And that.
Yeah, I don't really care about that, to be honest. Though,
Look, I'll take another 8 points.
Yeah, it's annoying from a fantasy perspective, but he may have just been a little bit gassed.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I guess talk really about Aaron Rodgers, what to do with him.
I think you're kind of just cooked.
If I offer you a third for Aaron Rodgers, are you taking it?
Probably not. That's the issue. So that there's really not much of a buy low scenario where if you have him, you're probably just going to keep him, because if he does play again next year, he gets catapulted into the late second conversation. So it's just worth holding for that. Unless maybe you can get like multiple thirds, then maybe you consider that. But the backup quarter, like who they're going to go with now, let's just assume it's not Zach Wilson, considering they didn't want to throw the ball in any capacity at the end of the game. Is there any speculation ads you're trying to do for a roster spot? Maybe like a Matt Ryan, one of those free, because apparently they were reaching out to free agent quarterbacks. Is it worth trying to do a speculation ad, trying to nab a quick starter?
I would assume it's Carson Wentz that they go after, right? Like,
and I think he's rostered, but maybe he could be.
Yeah, if we're talking about like, we're really throwing darts. I don't think any of those like random guys who are on the wire. Like, I think this player would come from another team if they were to do it. Like, I think they would trade for a backup if that's the case. What is Mr. Trubisky still on the Steelers?
Yeah, he is.
Tyrod Taylor. Like, it feels like some of those. Jacoby Brissett.
One problem I have is that all of these type of, and this happens with most of the players, this is why a lot of them are backups. All these dudes suffer tremendously under heavy pressure. And realistically, you're going to give up assets, unless it's one of the free agents, which I can understand, right? You're just giving them a contract. But trading for someone, yeah, Zach Wilson's a little bit of a meme, but are you really going to get significantly better production for trading for some of these guys? There are some dudes I think you can, but a lot of the guys that are being thrown around, like, I really don't think it's much of an upgrade.
I just need someone that can at times push the tempo, be a good game manager, and like, it's 3rd and long. I feel okay with him trusting the ball, right? Like with Zach Wilson, I don't think they feel that. You could tell by Hard Knocks and everything. They have Aaron Rodgers there. They're like, look, guys, our offense last year was awful. Like, we were so bad. And they're saying that right in front of Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's in the room, and they're just like,
it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
But they clearly did not have any confidence in Zach Wilson before. I don't know if he's inspiring confidence in them now. they
But see,
built a better roster.
I don't want a game manager though, because the big problem I have with Zach Wilson right now is that he is unable to consistently push the ball downfield without turning it over or taking sacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem because he's not Justin Fields. He can't run around for days. Like most of the times when he's running around, it ain't ended up good, and that's a problem, right? So
he went like 30 yards backfield.
Yeah, it's like he has guys wide open, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll run now." It's like, dude, God. But I need someone who can consistently push the ball down the field in the most shitty scenario. That doesn't really exist, but the one guy I do think that can do it, Jacoby Brissett. I think Jacoby Brissett, if you put him on there, I don't think that he's the savior because I think he has a lot of his own problems. But
well, look, the way this team's defense is, you don't need anyone that crazy for you to win a bunch of ball games. Like,
if you get Jacoby Brissett, then I think that there's a decent shot that they can end up a game over 500, maybe 2, sneak in the playoffs. Maybe that division's shitty and the Bills suck, and you never know, right? Probably you'd have to pray for a wild card in a really tough AFC.
Yeah, their goal, I guess, at this point is wild card.
Because I mean, Minshew's another guy. Just considering the Colts probably expected him to start and then transition into Richardson. But at the same time, it's like, I just think Minshew ends up as a Mike White, where, yeah, he makes some plays, but once again, he's going to be a turnover machine more so than he makes good plays for you.
Yeah. Look, my guy, Trey Lance. Cowboys, what was it? The Cowboys trade a 4th for him?
Yeah, 4th.
Yeah. Give up a 3rd. Hey, Cowboys, you move up around for nothing, literally just holding the guy. We'll take him. Maybe he'll win us games. Probably not, but we'll see.
This is a really tough injury here so J.K. Dobbins also tears the Achilles.
Running back out of that class next to Cam Akers to do it.
Are you buying low on J.K. Dobbins right now?
No. It's tough, but it's like done is a strong word, but I mean, like a late 3rd, I'm wondering if I even give that up for J.K. Dobbins at this point.
Oh, yeah, geez. I mean, I would give up a late 3rd.
Because here's the thing, right? It's ACL, it's Achilles. It's just he keeps getting these lower body injuries. He's not getting any younger. Who knows what his situation, where he's even going to end up next year, like what he's doing with his contracts and everything. So I don't know. Who knows what kind of back you're getting? You might just be getting like Latavius Murray. Yeah, Skoll said he sold for a 3rd, and
I would buy him for a 3rd.
That's why I think right now is the time to sell him, because people are actually like, oh yeah, I'll buy low on him. But I think as time goes on and like we're not hearing from J.K. Dobbins. Yeah,
I mean, I think
I don't know.
You're going to offer it right now.
Spot on him, yeah, in one of my rebuild leagues.
I do generally agree. There's a good chance he's cooked. Because just like back-to-back knee injuries, that's like brutal. But I mean, for his low price of a 3rd for how talented he is, like I may just take the chance on that. When you compare like 3rd round hit rate to whatever chance you give J.K. Dobbins of like coming back to like decent form,
I'm giving that such a low. I'd rather 3rd round hit rate, or even if I could just pivot that 3rd into like a different veteran, like an older wide receiver or something.
Would you do like something like Dobbins in a 3rd for a 2nd? Would that kind of be the trade you'd look for?
Wait, like I'm giving up Dobbins for a 3rd.
Oh, you give up?
Yeah, if I have Dobbins and someone offers me a 3rd, I'm sorry, but I'm just trading him for a 3rd. Now, if someone's willing to offer me a 2nd for Dobbins plus a 3rd, I'll definitely do that. But
yeah, obviously.
I don't know what the market's going to be. I can't imagine.
There's some wacky trades. Dobbins in a 3rd for Zach Wilson. Dobbins for a 25 2nd. Dobbins for a 24 3rd. Lawrence and Dobbins for Pitts and Purdy. Dobbins in a 3rd for Justice Hill. Dobbins for Gus Edwards straight up. Dobbins for a 2nd. Dobbins for Michael Wilson. So yeah, he's floating around a 3rd. Dobbins for Zeke.
Yeah, Dobbins is. Yeah, I'm giving him up for a 3rd. I don't know who's out here trading Zeke for Dobbins. Why would you? Unless you're, I guess, looking for 0 max points. Like, I don't know why you're doing that. Yeah, I'm out on Dobbins now at this point. And look, if he comes back and he is good, I think you'll still have, like, you'll be able to get him for not anything crazy. Like, I don't think there's any world in which J.K. Dobbins ends up back in first round territory.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, the thing that's kind of working against him is, correct me if I'm wrong, next summer he's a free agent.
Yes.
So I don't know, like, coming off this injury, he'll probably only get like a backup role somewhere, or like a committee where he's probably not the feature guy.
He's not going to be a feature back. He's going to have this litany of injuries that's happened to him. Age is going to be tough too. Like, is there a world where J.K. Dobbins is worth a second again? Definitely, but I'm not going to hold him a whole year. I guess I can move him on the IR, but I'd rather just utilize those assets in a different way than just have this guy sit on my bench and not do anything.
Well, see, the issue is I'm in so many of these fucking orphan leagues now. I'm like an orphanage out here.
You'll take whatever you can get.
Honestly, the orphans are rough because I'm just donating money and basically all of them right now. But now, like, dude, what am I gonna? I can hold my thirds. I've got a slew of thirds in one of these things. I've got thirds for days. But, like, should I just hold them for lottery tickets, or do I go for a Dobbins and then try to stonk that into a second?
I'm just thinking, like, wasn't Luke Musgrave a third this year in ADP?
Yeah, he was.
I think Jaden Reed was a third.
Right. I mean, listen, you can always go back and point out some hits, but I can also throw as many misses.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is, like, there's decent upside in there if we're already talking about Luke Musgrave for first, whereas J.K. Dobbins, I don't think you're getting that chance. Like, I'd rather just take that random dart throw and go for that chance.
Okay. I just keep my thirds, keep my army.
Keep your army.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, you are right, though, because that's part of the strategy is just obtain so many of those picks so you can overturn your roster with young talent. If you hit on enough, and you're out of the mud.
Yeah. All right, so that's our news and notes. Now let's get into Great.
Wait, half a second. Who's the guy to own now right now? Is it Gus Edwards? Is it someone else?
Lamar.
It's the person's not on that roster.
Okay. Lamar.
I, like, if this is a competing team, I think they look to get Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette.
All right.
I was gonna say,
Leonard Fournette is gonna be a Raven.
The Ravens usually will bring in like a vet, so we'll see.
I can picture it now, and that's gonna be great for my immaculate grids. It's gonna be a nice link.
Dang, Leonard Fournette on there. Let's move into. I haven't done those recently. Now you're making me wanna. Beta Great. Brock Purdy is leading us off. He did have a very solid game against your Pittsburgh Steelers. Friday.
Yeah, we got fucking destroyed.
I didn't know what was happening that game.
So,
like, 49ers winning.
It was like 20-0. Pretty.
Yeah, we just got just absolutely rocked in basically every facet of football. There wasn't like a single thing that we did better than them, other than maybe Freiermuth outplayed Kittle. That's the only position battle that we may have won. Like,
I mean, you guys had, I mean, in my opinion, the most individual player on the field. Like, TJ Watt was fucking going crazy.
Well, that's TJ Watt. He's like MVP, just going like nuts
on the field. But like, the Steelers are just getting smoked. I was more so surprised about how Purdy did against their defense.
So that's what I wanted to say. Is going back and looking at the game. First off, Shanahan, like we saw in the preseason, I mentioned a couple episodes ago, I don't know what he did this offseason, whether he went to a bunch of coaching clinics or spent way too much time in the film room. His drop back passing game is now pretty fucking good. What he did with the running game for all these years, specifically in Atlanta, right, with, like, remember in the red zone, Devontae Freeman is just basically unstoppable going into his RB1 season. Everyone knows it's coming, but his run game is so nuanced and so good, packed with an MVP quarterback, and now you just have an unstoppable force. I feel like I'm now getting that level of nuance in their drop back passing game, which is a little bit scary, specifically because Brock Purdy is not this world-beating quarterback.
No.
But the way that they were able to, for parts of that game, just not only utilize his strengths, but then turn his weaknesses into strengths schematically. Like Shanahan was in his fucking bag, dude. So like coming into like the third quarter, there's a pretty big third down. I forget what the score was in the game, but they're up like 20 points. Yeah, they're in a good spot, but that's how comebacks are able to get started, right?
Yeah.
The entire game, the San Francisco 49ers, all they do is attack the middle of the field, attack the seams, in breaking routes, just being little merchants, putting it into the hands of their playmakers. Steelers defensive backs are squatting on all the routes now. They run like a 15 or a 20-yard out, and Brock Purdy just, with great anticipation, hits it, huge chunk. That defensive back is thinking, oh shit, he's going to run the go now. This is the time they're trying to get me. And Shanahan, just so smart, takes that disadvantage of Purdy. He kind of has to live in this short to intermediate world, taking that and creating a free 15 to 20-yard chunk play on third down, on top of all this switch release and motion, putting so much stress on the defense. Like, dude, this 49ers offense is fucking good, because that is not a bad Steelers defense.
No, it's not.
Like, what does that mean for Purdy now? Because I was never a Purdy guy, but goddamn.
Look, I'm the resident Purdy hater. I'm kind of gonna not necessarily go off track here. I think it is what it is from Brock Purdy. Like, you're getting solid games every time. I think you're not getting anything crazy though. You're not gonna get like a league or week winning game from Brock Purdy. But I think week in and week out, you will get those 200 something yards, 2 touchdowns, hopefully no turnovers, which gives you, 18 points. Like, I think he's a solid 18 point per game player, which is nice. Like, that's a very solid quarterback too. But I don't think, regardless of how great this offense looks and everything, I don't think you're ever getting much more than that from Brock Purdy. So is the price tag worth it? I think at this point, probably.
That's what I was gonna say with my question, in terms of just like great or great. Like, what is the price on him, or even we could say like tier of dynasty quarterbacks that you'd put him in, like guys that you'd have like him right next to.
Well, he's above Kenny Pickett right now, right?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
I put him above, but are you putting him like
versus Mac? Where do you have him versus Mac Jones?
So this is where it's tough, because I think like I can go back and make the argument for Mac Jones as a college prospect, and when you look at the Patriots games, Mac Jones really isn't that bad. He played pretty fucking well against the Eagles.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
But Brock Purdy happens to be on the Niners, and Shanahan's in his bag now, and he's gonna give you points. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of just a matter of circumstance where Brock Purdy is just. And normally I'm never the situation guy, but it's just drastically different.
No, drastically different situation. I mean, the number one receiving threat that Mac has would be what?
The board ultimatum.
I would think the real test
number 5 receiver in San Francisco.
What about Derek Carr?
I'll take Purdy over Derek Carr. But like, I'm not ready to put him like ahead of like. Which is where I've seen some like online people have him online. Like, I'm not putting him in the same tier as like Tua and Dak Prescott.
No, definitely not.
But what about Daniel Jones? I mean, these are 2 very different weeks that these teams had, so this could be recency bias. But
yeah,
where are you going?
I'm taking Daniel Jones probably.
I think Daniel Jones.
I'm definitely taking Daniel Jones.
More rushing upside.
He definitely has more rushing upside.
I'm going to take Daniel Jones there.
I still don't think Daniel Jones is good.
But no,
so is Purdy vaulted into first-round pick territory now then? I mean, if we're comparing him to these guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying you'd rather have Brock Purdy than Mac Jones, and I think Mac Jones is probably in that early second range.
Early second, late first.
Yeah, I think Brock Purdy is
Mac Jones has been in that early second range.
So I think
you're not giving up your first.
Yeah, no. So I think Brock Purdy probably is. You could probably get a first for Brock Purdy. I'd probably rather
right now, especially. Yeah.
I may have some trades to offer in the second, third, and 20 league.
Yeah, I'd rather the first.
Tonks, he traded from last off. Wait 1 week. He just like plays well against your team. Traded for one.
Yeah. It's the price.
Don't out me like that.
All
right, going into the other quarterback though. Sorry, we just got to move along. Matthew Stafford.
I think that was the most surprising game of the weekend. I mean, besides maybe I guess like how bad the Cowboys beat the Giants, because that was like, I mean, we might talk about that later, but that was fucking insane. But that game surprised me the most. One, the Rams dominating in the second half like they did, but two, mostly Stafford looking as good as he did. Like he's not washed. I thought he'd be completely cooked. Well, not completely cooked, but like marinated.
Here's the one thing I want to say though, and this kind of goes with Puka Nacua as well, and we're gonna get into Tutu Atwell. The Seahawks pass defense is not good. And I think it's specifically because of their linebackers. Like, you can kind of just abuse the shit out of them because they have some good corners. But, like...
Yeah, I was going to say, they had one really good D-back, and then...
I feel like I was watching an extension of the playoff game where they just got fucking smoked last year. I feel like I was watching the same game. It was just like, okay, here's... we're back in the first quarter.
Yeah, look, my whole thing about Matthew Stafford was his health. I never really had concerns about him being the player, but like if you're telling me he's healthy and he's able to look, even if it is the terrible Seahawks pass defense, I'm back in on Matthew Stafford if he's like this.
I was worried about how he would be. I mean, like health in terms of like, yeah, if he gets re-injured, sure, like that's obviously going to be a concern. But no, I was worried about like even when like games that like he's healthy this year, that he just wouldn't be the same as a passer because of his elbow injury last year, and like you would start to see like a physical decline. But he looked great, and while missing Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, that's what's really impressive. But once
like,
again,
he's throwing the guys like Tutu Atwell's been there, but he's never really been part of the offense. That like
Tutu Atwell's low key nice.
He had a good game.
Tutu Atwell. One thing about Tutu Atwell that y'all were sleeping on. We did this segment a couple years ago, and it's one of probably my favorite segment we've done on this podcast. He fit the third-year breakout mold, like to a T. He fit that shit.
We should have done it. Do you know who else would who fits that this year?
Who do you think finishes higher by the end of the season, Tutu or Puka?
I'm gonna bet on Puka Nacua because I think that Puka Nacua. Like, yeah, I know, but like I was saying before, I think that he's a guy that can fit that Robert Woods role. If he can consistently win one-on-one matchups and Cooper Kupp gets back, that's perfect. Because there's a clear need for that in this offense still.
Yeah.
And I think Tutu Atwell is specifically this third receiver to take off the top of a defense that's not going to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's good enough to be
Jefferson consistent. Kind of like, do we think he's cooked?
Yeah.
Like, is he gonna fall to like wide receiver?
Yeah, he's not. Yeah.
There's just not enough of a role for him there.
So you think he's gonna get definitely surpassed though by those other two?
I'm not gonna say that. I just think that once again, like he's a Kendrick Bourne, right? Like his upside is 900 yards, 800 yards. That's a fantastic season for him, but that's the best you're gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to happen, it needs to be kind of by victim of circumstance. Like, if Cooper Kupp misses the rest of the year, let's say, then he can go and put up that season. If Cooper Kupp comes back week 5, no fucking shot. Unless he surpasses Puka Nacua and whatnot. But I ain't seeing Van Jefferson get 15 targets. Like, he's had 3 years to do that.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase went their entire rookie season without 15 targets. This is insane. Again, I don't know. I'm out on basically all of these Rams pass catchers other than Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp when he's healthy.
I like Tyler Higbee as a tight end this year.
Higbee, even when they're without Cooper Kupp and you have freaking Tutu Atwell is the second best receiver on the team, Higbee's still getting 3 targets a game. That's just what he is. He's a 3-target guy. He's always 3 targets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying into Higbee.
I think he'll get a little bit more.
Unless he's in that one playoff game.
I like Higbee if I'm getting him in as a throw in it.
Yeah, I really liked his price in like redraft leagues this year.
I mean, if you're telling me like Higbee versus the price of literally free, I'll take Higbee. But after that,
a late third potentially. But I don't know. You're kind of convinced me.
I would give up a late third for Higbee.
Yeah, I'd rather thirds than Higbee.
So Allen Robinson. Sorry, we just got to keep moving along here, man.
Chugging along. You're the Steelers guy. What do you think?
See, this is what baffles me because everyone's clamoring how well Allen Robinson played and he's back. I thought he kind of played like shit.
I didn't think he played
completely honest. Like
I didn't think he like. I was surprised at how much hype he was.
Well, look, Deontay hurt his hamstring. I think when Deontay's healthy and this team's got Freiermuth also healthy because he got hurt for a little bit too. I don't think we really see much from Allen Robinson actually. So,
I think even like while Deontay's out, like I would have zero faith putting Allen Robinson in my starting lineup. I think Pickens and Muth are probably just going to get both more targets. And then it's going to be split between some of the other receivers. I'm forgetting the name of the other guy, shorter, smaller.
Calvin Austin. I think Calvin Austin is going to get a significant amount of targets.
Like, I think he's the one that I think will kind of get like a nice bump.
Calvin, I'm fucking pissed I dropped him in the home league.
I like him.
Ran out of roster space. Calvin Austin is a good receiver.
Yeah.
This dude is a good receiver.
Your problem is more so
I actually think he'll outproduce Allen Robinson.
You need Kenny Pickett.
If Kenny Pickett plays like he did get the 49ers, he's cooked. Like we're done.
To be fair, though,
we're gonna see Mr. Trubisky week 6 then. All right, like,
it is the 49ers.
49ers
so,
defense is loaded.
Yeah, it's not exactly.
Okay, if we want to talk about, is there any Steelers panic meter? Should I save my take for that? Should I just save it? Yeah, I'll save it for that. I'll save it for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did put that entire offense in
there. Allen Robinson, I think it's huge bait. Like redraft, I'm not spending my roster space on him. Dynasty, I'm selling on the hype.
Yeah.
Give me Calvin Austin.
All right, we kind of mentioned him when we talked about CJ Stroud, but what about Nico Collins?
Great.
He got a nice target share, but
if you bought into Nico Collins, I think this is one of the best buys of the offseason because this dude could actually be good.
I think it's the time to sell.
He's one of the guys that I think was worth that price. At this point, though, I don't think I'm going out and buying him, and I think he's going to be one of those guys where he's not getting moved a whole lot now.
See, I say easy bait. I would be shopping. I don't think
I think he's okay. I don't think he's a world beater. I think if you could get, what do you think the price is on Nico Collins right now? Like, what are you trying to move him for, Lounis?
Do you think I can get
that too? But there lies the rub. I don't think people give their second for him in most leagues.
I would give him up for an early third. I think you get a
solid second for him.
I would give him up for an early third.
Really, an early third? Yeah. I would buy for an early third.
I'm not giving up.
Simply for the production this year. I think like this guy could finish like wide receiver 27 pretty
I'd be
easily.
Shocked if he finished in the top 35 or 40.
There's not a huge difference between.
I think Tank Dell is going to be catching passes. Like I think Robert Woods looked all right.
I think it's Nico Collins, man.
I think Nico Collins probably will be the lead receiver. I would definitely trade a third for him. I just don't think that's happening in any leagues. He's getting moved for a third. I think it's seconds, and I don't know how often that's actually happening. All right, back to the Rams. Kyren Williams. Looks like Cam Akers might actually be done.
Cam Akers had the most disgusting stat line ever.
I didn't look at it, but I do know he salvaged
22 carries for 29 yards.
Yeah. And Kyren Williams, I'm going to just lead off and say I think Kyren Williams as a whole is a bait. But I think with this Rams offense, I think he could end up finding himself in the lead back area just because at this point, I don't know what to think of Cam Akers. I think this injury might have just been too much for him to overcome. So with that being said, I think Kyren Williams will be okay this year, but I'm not going out and buying Kyren Williams.
They're polar opposite.
I'm trying to
running
mass off
backs.
for him. Yeah, they are.
Because Kyren Williams is consistent, but he's just not really amazing. Maybe he's progressed a little bit since college, and I'm doing him a little dirty, but I think he's like, and he's an average at best. I think currently under average. But at least he's fucking consistent. You know what Kyren Williams you're going to get every single Sunday. Cam Akers teeters between being amazing and being literally so bad you wish you never played him.
I think you're going to get a lot of that Cam Akers this year. I think you're going to get a lot.
I think the Rams are another team that I'm surprised they haven't brought in a free agent running back.
They still can. I mean, they're 1-0 in the division. I don't know what their plans are. They're not really a team that's known to.
Like, yeah, if they string a couple wins together and they're trying to they get Cooper Kupp back. Like, yo, we really running this?
I think, yeah. I mean, if they can kind of push it together, because the NFC wildcard spots are pretty open after whoever between Dallas or Philly doesn't win the division will have the 5 seed. But then the other two, I think, are pretty open. I guess you could argue Vikings or Lions, but I could see the Rams sneaking in there.
Well, fact of the matter is, if I could pick a conference to go one game over 500 and bet on my chances at the playoffs, you bet your ass I'm taking the NFC.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the AFC is so loaded.
Dude, if you just have a healthy Aaron Donald, your defense is at least average. You could run literally a high school team with Aaron Donald.
They have so many low round picks and undrafted guys on their defense, but and then just Aaron Donald, and they were
he's insane. He's a monster.
Kicking it over to the Packers, we have Jordan Love, who actually had a pretty good game. I think he was averaging like 5 yards per pass attempt in the preseason. Turned that all the way up to 9.1 yards per pass attempt against the Bears. But is this just a case of it's the Bears and Jordan Love benefited from that? That's personally what I think. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree.
I understand that, and I know the Bears have a shitty defense, and so it's like, but like, I feel like it's encouraging to see like he did what you would expect. And you're hoping that just his first year starting that he can be like a league average passer and then kind of work his way from there because he's still young. He did what like he was supposed to do, which I think is encouraging. Like it's like imagine if he went out there and he struggled or like he was kind of iffy.
Oh, then he'd be complete toast.
Yeah, but I mean, so I don't know. I feel like if you have him, you have to be pretty encouraged after the first game. Like you're not doing victory laps yet, but I think he's like starting to work his way towards like. I don't know what you consider his price right now. Similar to like what, maybe a Mac Jones with early second? Would you guys?
Yeah, I think right now he's in that like Purdy-ish territory.
But I think he can start to work his way towards.
I think I'd rather have Purdy over Jordan Love.
Same for you, Lounis, or are you Jordan Love?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because Jordan Love is also in a great situation, like good coaching. Like he doesn't have the receivers that Purdy has, but they have. I think
Purdy did exactly what Jordan Love did for the most part, but he's been doing it for longer, right? Yeah. Like maybe it wasn't as amazing, but I think Purdy's also had more, like, you know, he's kind of done it at the highest level against some of the best defenses.
I will say with these two, I'm in the camp of they're just kind of that warm body that they'll get you through the quarterback twos. I just feel a lot more confident in Brock Purdy doing it than I do Jordan Love.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't blame Jordan Love because I think I agree with you. The Bears defense is not good. That's a bad defense right now. They really need some serious help. But you can't blame Jordan Love for just taking, like, they made it easy on him, so he made him pay. And at the end of the day, he at least was making the throws. He felt comfortable in the offense. Matt LaFleur had that young offense extremely prepared, and they executed at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
Although the Bears made it easy on him. But, like, you could totally have seen them getting a shit ton of penalties, and then all of a sudden it's a game, because it was a game for a good amount of the first half. It's not like they were blowing the doors out off him immediately.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add for him. You want to do our last meter great, and then we can move on to panic meter. All right, it's Tyler Allgeier. He did score 2 touchdowns.
He looks really good, man. Tyler Allgeier looks fantastic.
Like, I don't think it's because we saw last season. Didn't he break 1,000 last year?
He did break 1,000 yards last year.
I mean, listen, I think I'm completely wrong on Tyler Allgeier from my analysis on him. Like, this guy.
Well, one guy told you.
He did. I can't take a hit, and he's right.
I can't take a hit.
I have more
Shout out to him.
Falcons offense in general that we'll get to in the panic meter, but in terms of just specifically Tyler Allgeier, I mean, I don't know. I think he's good because I guess like what people are paranoid that Bijan Robinson is eventually going to become this bigger workhorse, but we've seen with Arthur Smith, their coach, like they're going to lean on their run game. Like,
yeah, this team
can be able to be productive, and I think it's more of a worry for the receivers, which again we'll talk about in a minute. But
this team seems like a team that's content running the ball 50 times, like regardless if they're down. If they're down 30 points, we're still going to run it a bunch. That's just who they are. That's their identity. That's who Arthur Smith is. He was there in Tennessee with Derrick Henry. They're a run first team, and when you have the quarterback you do, it makes sense why you'd be a run first team. So I get it. Tyler Allgeier will have his touches. I just don't know. I don't like the chasing of the last week's touchdowns when we already know who he is. Like, I don't know what his price tag is. I don't know if you guys have any idea, but I'm probably not spending it.
That's the interesting thing, is that he played really well last week. And the problem is he's on the Falcons for a while, but you have to remember that eventually in Dynasty, his contract is going to be up, and he could get a shot as a running back that may not have a ton of carries on him because he's splitting reps with Bijan. So if you can pick him up for a third-round pick in the backup running back territory, once Bijan really starts taking over, then that could be a pretty savvy buy potentially.
In the 3rd and 20 league, I was offered him for a second.
I'm not paying a second for him. That's too much.
I didn't take it.
I think I'm just not that sold on Allgeier. But if you really were, the way that I would want to approach it is that he would just be a slight tier down piece. You know, if I wanted to tier down receiver, or let's say I really liked Laporta and I wanted to tier down from like Kittle, I try to pick up Allgeier. I don't know, or Musgrave, excuse me, for my case.
Yeah,
approach it that way.
I'm okay not having him, but let's move on to the panic meter, and we'll start with the Thursday night game where the Chiefs receivers just were. There's no Travis Kelce out there. They were pretty awful. Rookie, I always screw up his first name. Rashi Rice. He was solid. He caught a touchdown.
I think he was the only one who was like kind of encouraging.
Yeah, the rest of them, Kadarius Toney, bad. Sky Moore, bad. Justin Ross didn't really do anything. Richie James, kind of non-existent. I think what's his face, your guy MVS, I think he had one good long pass, but other than that,
him and Rice were the only two really doing anything.
Yeah, I think they're all bad.
Honestly, Mahomes was out there balling too.
Yeah,
like Mahomes was kind of going nuts.
I think with Rashee Rice, I think that was kind of noteworthy. I'd be pretty encouraged if you drafted him. He was going where, like late second, mid second.
Late second.
Rookie draft.
Almost early third, yeah.
But I think we'll see, because obviously that receiving core is wide open. But I would have been pretty encouraged with him, just considering it's like his very first start. Well, not even a start, but his very first game. As for Toney and Sky Moore, I don't know. I don't want either of them.
Yeah. Look, Toney is not like, at least he's getting targets. Like, he's not doing anything with them. At least he's getting targets. Sky Moore is just kind of out there running a marathon. Yeah, he's just out there for fun. And it's the same problem you had last year. Like, he's getting on the field. He's doing stuff for the team, but it's not translating into targets. I don't know. There's not a lot of hope, I'd say, at this point for Sky Moore. Although what I did say was correct. You could have sold Sky Moore during this offseason for a decent amount more than you could have midway through the season last year when he was putting up 0 points. Like, you could have sold him for a second.
Yeah,
dude, that's the beautiful thing, is that you
Eternal
could have
hope.
sold him.
Eternal hope. It's the same thing with a lot of these receivers. It's just eternal hope. I am a sucker for it half the time, though. But yeah, I don't know. Like, would you trade these guys for thirds? You're just holding now and are like, hey, it's not gonna be this bad the entire time? Like,
I don't know. This is
Travis Kelce's coming back, so you already know
this offense might be so bad that CMC becomes relevant.
You mean CEH?
CEH, yes. CEH,
I'm more for an early third. Tony, I might give like 1 or 2 more weeks, but I don't know, because even if Tony has a good week, I'm not going to put too much stock into that. Like, it's like we know he's capable of having like a random like 50, 60 yard game and a touchdown performance. He did it a couple times, even just last season. But like, he'll have one of those games that you get sucked back in, and then it's like 1 catch for 7 yards the next game. So I don't know. It's weird. What would you guys give up for Rice?
Not
still just
much.
like a mid-second.
Like, yeah, he had a decent week. He happened to be the receiver of a wide open touchdown that Mahomes got to him as like the 5th read. Like,
that's the guy. If I could get a 2024 second, I'm just gonna trade him for the second, and just hope that it ends up somewhere on the earlier side, because I don't think he's going to amount to much.
And I think the problem with Justin Ross is that I think he has like more Kendrick Bourne-y kind of upside than being a beast. Now, he might be able to come in here and kind of be a James Jones type of dude, as like a slower guy, big body receiver with good body control, right? That could be an element that Mahomes relies on, especially if Kelce comes back. That'd be nice.
I will say at this point he's the most intriguing, because we don't know what he is yet, because he took a year off last year with his injury. I think he had 1 target this week. And he does have that kind of like, we still don't know what, like, if we could get freshman year Justin Ross.
Dude, to be honest too, I think I would look to panic buy Kadarius Toney.
Oh, you're going in?
I might check the price on a couple.
I have more faith in Tony than I do Sky Moore. And I'll give Tony the benefit of the doubt that he returned week 1 when like coming off of an injury and people didn't think he was going to play, which I know injuries don't affect your hands. That's excuse some people. I would rather Tony than Moore. I could say that in terms of
say you know that this year you have 210. Are you giving that up for Kadarius Toney?
I mean, I'd be trying to get him for a third.
That's the thing. Like I would want to give up something like a 3-1, 3-2.
I mean, I'd just be hoping to give a third, and fuck, it ends up late, and then I got him for a late third.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy put up like literally negative performance. If you didn't throw him the ball, you had a better chance of winning.
It's so funny when you put it like that. You're literally better off not throwing it to him.
It was brutal. Yeah. With how that game went.
Moving on back to the Ravens and their game. Rashod Bateman. Now, to be fair, I think Lamar threw it like 20-something times, 25 times. Rashod Bateman had 3 targets compared to Zay Flowers' 10, I believe. I think OBJ also had 3 targets. So
yeah,
Rashod Bateman.
OBJ also kind of had a little bit of a disappointing game.
Yeah, but it's not. OBJ is coming back from. It's been like over a year plus. It's like basically 2 seasons, or I mean, it's 1 full season, but it's almost like 2 years since we've seen OBJ on the field. Bateman, we expected to do something, and I mean, 3 catches for. I would think so. If you're telling me Andrews is out.
Oh, you meant this game? I thought you meant like for like the season.
Like, no, if you're telling me Mark Andrews is out. Rookie Zay Flowers and OBJ are your competition for targets, and you're getting me 3 targets. I don't know how it's going to look better. Like, this team's going to pass more, sure. This team's going to pass more for sure, but you're also going down the depth chart when Mark Andrews comes back. You're lower on the target list. If anyone's giving me like any tangible value for like, now look, actually, let me backtrack there, because I think Rashod Bateman is a good NFL receiver. Like, I think he's going to be in the league for a while. That whole thing. I don't think he's going to be very good for fantasy. I don't think he's going to like. I think this is who Rashod Bateman is. I mean, you might get 1 or 2 good weeks where he breaks off 70 yards and a touchdown, but for the most part, you're looking at 4 or 5 point weeks in half-point PPR, and that's useless to you. That is useless. So I don't know what the price point is on Rashod Bateman, but it gets murky. Now, here's what I'll say, and this is crazy for me. I debate trading my Rashod Bateman for Puka, straight up, because Puka, he had 15 targets. I don't know what he could be. Rashod Bateman, I now know what he is. I've tried to excuse it every time. Like, he had the groin injury right away, and he was a rookie. Last year, he had I think it was a Liz Frank or whatever. And, it was just a weird season, and Tyler Huntley was there for a decent amount. This was the best chance for Rashod Bateman. He had the Texans defense, which is sneaky okay, but again, it is the Texans defense. He had no real competition for targets, or at least what shouldn't have been real competition for targets, and he got 3. So my panic meter is high. It is high for Rashod Bateman.
I think it should be. I mean, like, I feel like the writing was kind of on the wall when they gave Odell the money they did, and then they
that was, to me, I think you could have explained that as a let me keep Lamar happy play.
But then doing that, and then also using your first round pick on another receiver.
Yeah, that part's more.
It more so meant like the combination of those two moves, where they just wanted a whole new duo. Yeah, I think the writing was kind of on the wall. I may have been lower than consensus.
I mean, can you mass offer him for a second?
I don't think you're getting a second for Bateman.
Yeah, I mean, would you rather Bateman or Tony?
Bateman and a 3 for a 2?
That might be able to get done.
I would do that. I'd get anything, because the problem is that he's a Gallup, and I have firsthand experience having a Gallup.
I think I'd rather have Gallup.
Yeah.
So,
dang, that's a tough L that I'm currently eating on Bateman, because I really liked him.
It's not even like he sucks. It's just like.
Yeah, but I thought he was going to be good. He had a lot.
Yeah, the thing is, dude, is that's another example of a player that you could have sold at points, and it's so hard sometimes not to when you believe in a guy.
That is one of the few guys I actually did get out on a good time. Most of them I just hold out. Yeah, but I think I sold him week 1 last year because I was like, oh, I don't like this. Let me move on. I moved him in a first for CD.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but then I moved CD, then I moved Amon-Ra, then I moved Amon-Ra. It's the whole thing. It's wide receiver roulette on my teams. Okay. Speaking of wide receivers, though, the Falcons receivers, Desmond Ridder threw the ball 19 times. I think 9 or 10 of them were to running backs. I believe 9 of them were to running backs. One of them was to himself, and one of them was to Drake London. That's what's going on. Matt Collins, I think, had 4 or 5 targets. Kyle Pitts had like another 3.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm still high just because Drake London and Pitts are so talented, and I know that. And even on the NFL level, like I know they're not, but I know they're both studs in the NFL if they got the correct volume. In terms of just for this year with this coach, I know Frankie said it's one game they didn't need to. Panthers suck. I get it. I'm fucking terrified.
I'll say real quick, Frank,
like production-wise for this season.
I think I'm watching the YouTube. And I want to hear what's coming out of Frank's mouth here.
I've got the tinfoil hat, and I'm going into battle. Okay. This is where we buy.
Oh,
this is where we buy.
See,
talent will prevail. We always say talent will prevail. Now is where talent prevails. We buy. We stand firm in the face of adversity and in the face of no targets, and we buy. We don't care about the coach. We don't care about the quarterback. We fucking buy the talent, and then we sit there and we go through the 0-point weeks until they eventually become good.
Can you give me like a little sword and shield as if I'm going into battle with you? Because I'm following. we're in this, or like a little drum. I'll mark this into battle.
Real quick, the comment that I'll say, I agree with you guys in terms of I'm insanely high on the talent though. So the argument that I'll make to you is when I say I'm terrified, I just mean for this season. I think the bye period is going to be after this regular season.
No, like the bye period is right now, Lounis. This is the bye.
Do you think the bye is?
The bye is now.
I would do like a side bet. We could take like their combined point value right now versus what it is after week 17.
Here's the thing. I think Taylor Heineke steps on this field. I think they're fine. Like we saw Taylor Heineke with
there's a QB change. Yeah, Heineke's better.
I think they're fine. Like so. Yeah, I think they'll be worth more.
Here's the thing.
Yep.
Here's the thing. We could say Arthur Smith all we want. A.J. Brown was able to do it when they had a competent quarterback and a good offense. I think that the Falcons could have a good offense. Maybe Desmond Ridder at some point in his life is able to throw the ball to a receiver. And I think like we saw the two-headed monster offense with Corey Davis and with A.J. Brown. Drake London and Kyle Pitts are that kind of duo. They could be just as good as them. They are them. Like Kyle Pitts, if you go back and watch that game, Kyle Pitts was fucking open like all game.
Oh yeah,
he had a huge play on like
no,
one of the only times
I'm still super high on the talent of those two. No, I'm just worried about the situation just for this season alone. I still know Pitts is a fucking monster. I'm still just as high on him. I know Drake London is a stud.
Did you see Kyle Pitts shake your boy Jeremy Chin, Frank?
Yeah, I did see that.
That was pretty sick. Yeah, I'm not panicked at all. This is a zero panic on
even for this season. Like you feel okay?
Yeah. I mean, Matt Collins, I guess I'll panic, even though he has.
Dude,
like
you just put on your tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
I still like them both long term. This season is what I'm worried about. But okay. Or as long as Desmond Ridder is their starting quarterback.
Yeah, look. This is a team that should be competing for the playoffs. With how weak the division is, I think it might not actually be as weak with Baker being pretty good and the Saints obviously being solid. But I think this is a team that should be competitive. They're a good team on their own right, just without the quarterback position. So no panic here. I think they might switch to Taylor Heineke though. DeAndre Swift. This was interesting. Kenny Gainwell was the lead. Now look,
also
going into the game.
Healthy scratch.
That's what I was gonna say. You're going into the game. You hear Rashad Penny's a healthy scratch. You're thinking, okay, this is good for DeAndre Swift. He's probably the lead back. If he's not the lead back, he's definitely gonna get a ton of opportunity. Didn't really happen. He ran a bunch of routes. Didn't really get targeted on the routes. It was mostly Gainwell's job. This was DeAndre Swift's first game on the team compared to Kenny Gainwell having 3 years, I think, on the team at this is his third year. So I mean, I guess you could go there, but panic meter for you guys. So you're the Eagles fan. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not fully there. I remember during training camp, I think I said this one of the later pods during the summer, kind of a warning about Penny, about how Gainwell had gotten the most snaps with the first team offense in training camp, with Swift very close behind him, and there was a tier break after those two when it got to like Boston Scott and Penny. So I was originally pretty worried about Penny. So the healthy scratch wasn't too surprising, especially because they used Boston Scott as a returner. As for Swift himself, the Sirianni did say right after the game that it's unacceptable that he only got one touch and that he'll manufacture more touches for him. But I think it's like, so I think he'll be better, but I do think Gainwell is going to be the one who gets more touches on a consistent basis. At least it's kind of how it seems. We'll see how it plays out. I think the Eagles' offense will be high scoring enough where Swift can still be a flex play. I don't think it's going to be as big towards Gainwell as it was this past week, and it's going to be an offense that scores a lot and runs a lot in the second half. So I'm not fully there. I want us to continue another week because New England's defense really threw off the Eagles' offense. I thought they did a really good job of just stopping everything that they wanted to do, and the Patriots front seven is actually really fucking good. I haven't seen the Eagles
defense is legit, dude.
I all of last season I didn't see the Eagles O line get pushed around like they did week one against San Francisco
in the red zone.
Dallas.
Like once they got within 30 yards of the end zone, it was just lights out. Patriots once the Patriots defense didn't have to worry about that top on the defense, they were going crazy.
Yeah, and even when they had it on their own side of the field, the number one thing the Patriots did was take away the run game and deep ball, and then it made the Eagles offense malfunction. And then I haven't seen Lane Johnson get work like that.
That was without Jack Jones too. Jack Jones.
No, the Patriots defense was sick. So it was like a weird week. That's why I say I'm not fully there. I'm really interested to see though how it goes against Minnesota, because Minnesota is a game you should have a decent game against.
Well,
a team you should have a good game against.
Let's stick with that and the Eagles offense, and then we can move to the Patriots too in a second. Dallas Goedert, I think he put up 0 points, if I remember
Not
correctly.
panicked whatsoever.
Yeah,
Zero panic?
Swift, I was like in between. Goddard, I'm not panicked. We were talking about pre-pod. Devontae Smith last season, the first week, had 0 catches. Obviously, Devontae Smith is different because he knew he was always going to be the number 2. Goddard will be the number 3. But I thought Goddard was more of a victim of the Eagles' offense just being haywire in general. Like, Hurts didn't have over 200 yards passing. They only had 1 offensive touchdown, and it was on like a short field. I think the Eagles' offense is going to normally be better on a week-to-week basis.
Right. I think that benefits Goddard more so than anyone else of the running backs.
Yeah.
Like,
no, Goddard. Yeah, because he's going to be like the red zone threat and target. He had a really good camp. He was like catching a shit ton of touchdowns in camp. So I'm not worried about Goddard.
The problem I have really quickly though. Wait, are you going to say something on Goddard?
Yeah.
Okay, go on Goddard.
So my problem with Goddard is like going into the season, like he's ranked around Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, Dotson, Zay Flowers. Like these are all players like he was ahead of. Amari Cooper, even your guy Miles Sanders, Lounis, Deontay Johnson. I get it. He's a tight end, but I think with Goddard, like I don't think we're getting difference making tight end numbers from him. I mean, you might get a couple good weeks here and there where it's like, oh, he actually did put up 12, 13 points, but for the most part, I think you're only getting really 8-point performances from Goddard because I don't really see him scoring many touchdowns. He didn't do it last year. This team's gotten more threats this year. So to me, it's
I'm higher because I don't think in the pecking order has changed between this year and last year, and I think the Eagles will have more passing touchdowns. I think he'll end up having a really good season.
I think you're undervaluing how really good your defense is in New England.
Yeah, no,
that
the Eagles,
I think it's
absolutely. I think
it's a very good defense.
Insane.
The Eagles' offense week 1 played worse than any week last season.
Yeah, I think it's a great defense, but regardless of what defense they're playing, you're the 3rd target on the team. With Jalen Hurts, who likes to run
offense, though.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't agree with that statement. Regardless of the defense you're playing, that is the reason that
that's
you
the reason
play
he got
any
0.
other defense.
Sure, that's the reason he got 0.
Else,
but maybe next week he gets 4.
Scores 10 points. Like you're saying his floor is 8 points. I think his floor is more so 12 points. So
you're making me pull up stats because I don't think that was his floor last year. I mean, last year we're looking at this is what PPR for tight ends.
PPR tight end premium.
Yeah, 9, 13, 11, 12, 17, 4, 12, 24, 9, out a bunch, 9, 7, 10. So I don't know, maybe 9. Split the difference there. There's a lot of 9.
Those last 3 weeks was when like Jalen Hurts was hurt, with the shoulder thing. I don't know. I'm still high on Goddard.
Full point PPR?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Okay. I thought he was better.
He was only a top 5 tight end twice last year.
Damn. I might be wrong on Goddard.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look, I think he'll give you consistent production, but it's like 9, 10 points, which in the tight end world, I'll give you 10 points. I'll give you 10 points in the tight end world. That's
normally be a guy that can consistently get you like the 11 to 13. Because with Jalen Hurts last year, he only had 1 game under.
Yeah, I mean, the benefit that he's giving you is he's giving you those consistent 10 points, whereas someone like
other tight ends, you'll be like a 20-point week, then like a 2-point week.
Well, for the most part, you're getting like 2-point weeks from like a Chigo Okonkwo or Greg Dulcich or Dalton Schultz or Cole Kmet. You're getting like 2 or 4-point weeks. Whereas Dallas Goedert, he's consistently giving you those 9 to 10 points, but you're not getting those. Like there's what I'm looking at.
I'm saying low. I think
he had 2 games over 15.
Like I think his average by the end of the year is going to be around like 13, 14 a game. I mean, we'll see. All I'm saying is, like, before making a lot of the Eagles' offense was really off. So I'd give it even just.
Yeah, they looked rusty. They looked rusty.
Thursday,
and it was reduced defense.
Yeah, where Belichick had all off season to get ready for that game.
Yeah.
So I wait for this Thursday to make any like big things about the Eagles off because I think the Eagles' offense should go off against Minnesota.
Flipping to the other side of the field, Juju basically wasn't playing in the 2-minute drill offense that the Patriots were running. It was a lot of Kendrick Bourne, Kayshawn.
Yeah, I'm on panic with Juju, To be
Oh
honest.
yeah, I definitely am.
I
I was saying it earlier.
Yeah,
Juju
no,
wasn't getting targets with the Chiefs.
Yeah,
We think he's gonna get like he wasn't doing much with the Chiefs wide receivers, and he had Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. Now he's got Patriots receivers who still aren't good, but Mac Jones is his quarterback. Like I don't see him improving, and he didn't. He actually had like an okay week for Juju standards. I think he put up like 7 points in half-point PPR.
So yeah, I think that those rookies are going to get more snaps now. As
Demario Douglas and Kayshawn.
Even like someone like a Taekwon Thornton.
Kayshawn, dude, he had a couple. Like it's annoying.
He just needed to get his foot in bounds.
Like it's just like, come on, dude.
Kayshawn was. I thought Kayshawn was fine.
I was
obviously he gets fine.
Obviously the other toe drag stuck, but with Juju, yeah, also like the knee thing scares me.
I don't know where that came from, but sure.
Yeah, but it's just that like right before the season started, it's like his knees are taking time bomb, and then it's like whoa. So yeah, I'm out on Juju, but I don't even know what you're getting from him at this point. If I could get an early third for Juju, I'd probably sell at that. I think I would.
You're getting an early third.
Yeah, but I don't even know if you're getting that early
third. Same thing with like Bateman. It's just like these guys are just not.
I'd rather Bateman than Juju though.
Paying out. Yeah, I'd rather Bateman.
Because I know his knee's not like taking time off.
Yeah, but he's been injured every year, whereas Juju has not. Okay, now back to your team, Frank. The Steelers offense.
I'll let you go, Frank.
Look, I'll put the caveat real quick, Frank, and give you a way out. They're playing the 49ers, who are probably...
Yeah, dude, we just kind of got destroyed up front. I think it's as simple as that. Everyone wants to, like, go crazy on it. Like, dude, we just got bullied up front. You can't do anything. So I think that Najee in the run game is going to bounce back. I think we're going to see...
Are you concerned about the split there with him and Jalen Warren?
Not particularly. Because I just think Najee to me is just a better running back than Jalen Warren. If you give Jalen Warren a bulk of the carries, I'm not sure he's as efficient as he was last year. I also think Najee was in a little bit of a funk last year. He needs to get back to like being a physical back. Dude, you're freaking huge. Just be physical. And I think he's kind of realized that. But it feels like the Steelers are going to come out here and want to start running the ball because clearly trying to air it out, we were just getting absolutely fucking destroyed. We couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, your problem was I feel like you went down 20-0 real quick, and then trying to come back from that is just against that, Bosa and the 49ers defense. It's not very feasible. So you kind of you dug that hole and you were just stuck in it.
But we've gotten creamed week one a lot of times.
I think that. Well, I don't think it's just. I think like your home opener, you're like 1-6 or something in the past.
Yeah, it's just. I don't know. We're not a week one team.
I don't know.
You can't panic too much.
You guys, last season week one, that game was electric.
Yeah, against the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That game was crazy.
Yeah, that's another team that.
That was one of the most entertaining.
We kept them. Yeah, we kept the Bengals off the panic meter because I don't think anyone's truly panicking about the Bengals yet.
And I'm not like going nuts and panicking over Kenny. Like, yeah, he had a bad game, but I like good quarterbacks will have bad games every once in a while. He needs to bounce back. And
49ers defense will make your quarterback look good.
Yeah. Next up, Christian Kirk.
Also, not really panicking a ton.
Are you not worried?
I was kind of annoyed when I saw that his snap count wasn't great.
That's what I was going to ask.
That was more so the thing, because I'm not overreacting in one game in terms of just like actual production, but I would like for him to have a higher snap count and percentage, because he was pretty much like even with Zay Jones, who's the number 3 there. So I think he'll bounce back. He's a really talented receiver. He already has chemistry with Trevor Lawrence, and it was kind of the Calvin Ridley show week one. And as they go against teams that have like a better top corner than the Colts, who will try to take away Ridley, I think you'll see more of Kirk's production. So I'm not panicked, but I was like kind of annoyed at that snap count. But I want to see how it looks over like 2 or 3 more weeks.
Zay Jones had 20 more snaps than Christian Kirk, and more targets.
The targets I don't think it's a big deal, but like the snap count was kind of weird, but I'm not there yet.
Well, the problem is that panicking right now to me doesn't make sense because I just don't want to sell him for a second. Like, I much rather keep Christian Kirk than start selling him for a second right now.
Okay. That's an interesting. I don't know. I might trade him for a second.
See, if I'm a contender, I am buying Christian Kirk for a second right now. I think he's completely worth the risk, and he's on a fantastic offense.
What about you? I feel like you've been a Zay Jones guy in the past. Like, would you go out and buy Zay Jones?
His touchdown was sick. I don't think I'm buying him though.
The problem is, I can I get him for a third? I don't think I can get him for a third. I don't know. It's weird.
You might be able to. I feel like you might be able to.
If I can get him for a third, I think I am buying because I like Zay Jones.
I think he's worth the value at a third. I just think it's like, are you ever going to feel comfortable starting him?
I started him for a lot of last year.
He's actually a solid flex player.
Last year when he was like the number 2. I'm saying like this season. Like
he still might be the number 2. I don't know.
He still might be the number 2. Like,
come on.
He might be. I don't know.
And this might be one of the best passing offenses in football. Trevor Lawrence is going nuts, dude.
No, okay. I was like, someone had like a film thread on a ton of the throws that Trevor Lawrence made week 1. He's fucking insane.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Like I think he's already kind of like entering that like Herbert tier of quarterbacks. Like
I just
top
think
5 range where you get like Herbert, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Like he's right there.
Trevor Lawrence is doing both like those deep laser throws as well as he has good touch, whereas someone like Herbert just lasers everything. His touch throws are kind of rough.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence, he's just fucking insane, man.
Trevor Lawrence is entering the top 5 conversation. Yeah, I think he's going to be like, obviously Mahomes is in his own tier. And then there's like that second tier, at least what I consider to be like just kind of like the Burrow, Allen, Hurts, Herbert. I think he's, for me, I'm comfortable putting him in that second tier, but I think other people are going to recognize it soon.
Here's the thing though. Would you trade Rashod Bateman, Kadarius Toney, what were we talking about this episode? Nico Collins. I'm missing one though. Bateman, Toney, Collins. We literally just talked about him. Oh, Juju. Bateman, Toney, Collins, Juju. Would you trade any of them for Zay Jones? Straight up.
Oh yeah.
Which ones?
Bateman. Juju, obviously.
Bateman and Juju, yes. Nico Collins and Toney, I would have as the 2 top out of those 4.
Nico Collins, I think that they're basically equally valued. If you're a hard contender, I'd rather have Zay Jones. Value-wise, I guess Nico Collins potentially has more longevity. I think most scenarios, I'm a contender trying to buy flex points. So give me Zay Jones.
Okay. Further, Zay Jones was ranked.
It's tough because I think Nico Collins just might get so many fucking targets.
Zay Jones was ranked multiple rounds behind all those guys, ADP wise. So it might be a good pivot option if you're looking. Maybe it feels bad trading Bateman for a third. Maybe just trade him for Zay Jones. I don't know. Okay.
It's not a sexy move, but I think it's one that just gets you good points.
Yeah. Lastly, the Bears. This one I wanted to touch on because I think I liked him coming into the season, but I'm already ready to hit that panic button. It's Khalil Herbert because I think this Bears backfield, Khalil Herbert being the incumbent, and it's not like we had a coaching change. Yes, Lounis?
I was going to say, because I was looking at the next news, we should just have a whole thing now about the Bears running back 1, wide receiver 1, and QB 1. Because I've seen panic on all 3 of them.
Well, I think the reason that I'm panicking on Khalil Herbert is because there's going to be a new RB1 by the name of Roshan Johnson.
Yep. I almost wore my Texas sweatshirt because I did beat Bama too. Texas is so bad.
Roshan Johnson. I saw the snap count for each that you sent, JT, and how Roshan ended up with the most. I want to see how those kind of played out throughout the game, and if
Roshan was definitely later on. He was definitely later on.
Yeah, like once they were down 34-17.
Khalil Herbert was the incumbent. I really expected this to be Khalil Herbert's backfield to start, kind of like what we saw with Tony Pollard. But the difference is Khalil Herbert's not as good as Tony Pollard, and the backups on the Bears are significantly better than the backups on the Cowboys. Yeah. So I think this is truly going to be a three-headed backfield where maybe one emerges, but at this point, I don't feel very confident at all that person that emerges is going to be Khalil Herbert. Like, I think the other two would be more likely at this point than Herbert. So
I think it should be Herbert, but it is also notable that like this coach and GM, he's the one running back that they didn't bring in themselves. Out of the three.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I just think it's as
and
simple
Rashod
as
looked good.
We saw all three of them get the ball. Who is the one that looks like the biggest, baddest dude on the field that you don't want to fucking tackle? It's Rashod Johnson.
Rashod.
If I'm a defense, I'm hoping you give it to one of the other two guys. So then I want to give the ball to Rashod more. I think he gets more touches as the season commences.
All right, I appreciate that you turned that into a panic meter on Khalil Herbert into let's pump Rashod Johnson tires. But,
so Justin Fields and DJ Moore, I am not panicking on. Once again, it was not great for Justin Fields, but I feel like I'm being the only person rational about the situation.
I will say there's a lot of people that have gone over the top.
Like, this is his, what is this, his second year? Third year?
Third year.
Okay, so it's third year. So he's going through his Daniel Jones phase right now, where he just still hasn't figured it out. Daniel Jones, his third year, beginning of the season, just had not had it figured out. The tape was so ugly, but then he kind of did. And honestly, it might take another coaching change. But Justin Fields is dynamic.
I think he will take another coaching change.
Like, he just needs to make the easy plays. He needs to just get comfortable making the easy plays. Like, he needs to do what fucking Lamar does every once in a while. Just chill in the pocket and make a handful of easy throws. But the other thing I'll say, though, those wide receiver screens that they were calling were really fucking that offense. None of them worked.
Did you guys see the videos of
it was just Chase Claypool just decided not to block?
Yeah.
Fact, why you can't figure that out during the game that this guy is literally not blocked? How many times are you going to call a play that puts you behind the chains and you keep fucking calling it?
This is my problem though. Is like, do they just not trust him to throw it down?
They don't trust him
because his average depth of target.
They didn't let him throw it deep.
Just run the ball. Just hand it to Roshan. Why are you calling a play where you have someone not blocking and it's like just not working over and over again?
I don't know, but
so I think they're these are smart people. They're gonna look at the tape and see, oh shit, we got to get this guy out of here, and we got to stop doing this. You know, we're gonna fix the fact that we were calling a play that was literally a guaranteed negative play, and they're gonna be back.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's gonna take a couple weeks potentially, though. I think it might take like 4 weeks, and then he'll figure it out.
I mean, it's kind of what happened last year. DJ Moore, you said no panic.
Yeah, it's just probably gonna be another floor DJ Moore season where he's like just over 1,000.
He is like the king of the what if of like put him on like a team where they're willing to throw the ball.
Him and McLaurin, I think.
But Justin Fields has a deep ball though. It's
but they're not willing to throw the ball. The team's not willing to throw.
They're not letting him cook.
Oh, that's the problem.
Which is why I mean, you brought up the coaching changer. I wish he had more of like an offensive-minded head coach.
I never
hired a defensive guy, and I didn't like their play calling with him. They didn't really have any design. Justin Fields runs too many screens. Like I wish he had the coach that Jordan Love had. Like if he had LaFleur coaching him, yeah. Because I still believe in Justin Fields.
So dynamic, man. He's good. Yeah. Like I don't know.
And we saw his deep ball in college, like with him, Olave, JS. Like his deep ball is nice. I don't know. I wish he had a different coach, but we'll see how the season plays
out. Last couple items of note. This looks like a Frank ad if I've ever seen it.
I'll let you. Dude, I would be picking up Calvin Austin off the waiver wire if he's in the waiver wires. I mean, other.
How much? This is, I guess, like the kind of more. How much fab are you dropping on him?
35%.
I feel like he's super under the radar though.
That's
like,
fair.
are people actually going out of their way to pick him up?
Comparatively
speaking, because I'm thinking like in the priority of what people are trying to add. I'm guessing Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, Melvin Gordon are probably near the top of that list.
Justice Hill is interesting. I think he's another guy on here that I would be spending a decent.
By the way,
amount of
if it kind of was an
Puka,
obvious
if he
off of
wasn't
like
on
just
team.
trade value earlier, if Puka is somehow free agent,
Yeah, he's probably just
drop the budget.
You're dropping. Yeah.
What else? I mean, maybe Zach Wilson was available in some dynasty leagues.
I drop it. I drop budget on Zach Wilson. Then I try to trade him for a third.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of others. I like Demario Douglas for the Patriots. I picked him up off the waiver wire a couple weeks ago.
I was thinking about offering a third for him in leagues.
Me?
Like, does that get accepted in any leagues?
I think so.
I'd probably trade him for a third if you want to get that done. Look, I like him, but I don't know. I like thirds too. What else? Who else? I'm trying to think of. I'm going across the league.
Adam Trautman. I mean, we can talk about if he's on waivers, like / a potential trade target for a 10 and needy team. I mean, this might be the year for Adam Trautman. Jake may have just been like 2 years too early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like this dulcich injury is actually going to last longer than.
Yeah, he's going to be out for a bit. I just like the Broncos passing attack is so weird. That game was just,
what Russ are we getting?
Weird.
I don't know.
The Russ, yeah. Like, is he?
The Raiders won, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
17-16. Russ had like a good first half. He had 150. I remember seeing this. He had like 150 passing yards at halftime. He finished with 179 for the game. It was just weird. I don't know. I feel like Russ just might be done. Judy, I feel comfortable starting. No one really else on that offense, receiving wise.
Did y'all see that the Antonio Brown interview?
That was so fucking funny.
No, wait, I don't know if I know this.
Like, they started the game with an onside. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he's just like, dude, you're starting off the season with onside kick. Like, you guys are a bunch of fucking clowns. You're trash. Like, it's a trash organization. And honestly, that is so funny.
Like,
Antonio, because it's like a hilariously like kind of good take. It's just like, dude, you're starting the season off with onside kick.
JT,
it is kind of hype,
I'll
but
send it to you after this. Yeah, no, that video is hilarious.
How good do you think Nathaniel Hackett feels right now with Broncos losing to the Raiders and the Jets beating the Bills?
Probably pretty. I mean,
if he's not crying in a closet, because Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
but
I think. I mean, this isn't really Trautman, just the Broncos. I think Kyler Murray's a Bronco. I think the writing's on the wall.
You think Kyler Murray's a Bronco? Interesting.
I don't think they're trading Kyler Murray, dude.
If you get the chance for Caleb,
if you're staring Caleb Williams in the face,
look, I really like Kyler Murray. Like I think
I do too. Good. I think Kyler's a stud, but like,
if I could get Caleb Williams on a rookie contract and I could trade Kyler Murray for a haul as well, like
I was gonna say you're still gonna get good value for Kyler.
Yeah,
at that point I just run 2 quarterbacks on the field.
Innovative Frank out here.
2 quarterback system.
If it's anything other than the number 1 pick, I would keep Kyler. But if it's Caleb Williams,
so like Drake May, for example, you're like, no.
Yeah, I'm keeping Kyler. I'm keeping Kyler, and I would trade the pick if I had like 2 or 3 or something. But Caleb Williams, if he's there, like you have to take him.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Anything else, you guys?
I should have included him in a beta great. Rashid Shaheed.
Great. I was saying it before. I'm saying it now.
Do you guys think like number 2 receiver on that offense over Michael Thomas?
I trade a first for him.
You would trade a first for him?
No, but he's amazing.
Rashid Shaheed had what they dubbed the profile erasing PFF receiving score. Him and Jalen Naylor, except Jalen Naylor didn't have enough what's it called? Opportunity, for that to be technical. Rashid Shaheed though, he's still good. The problem is though, like and this is a debate I've seen in the interwebs. Rashid Shaheed or Puka, because they're both very intriguing.
Ooh, that's
plays.
A good question.
They're both very like Rashid Shaheed just put up I think 16 points.
Give me Puka.
PPR.
I think I would take.
That's the thing. Puka is just like you have that magic thing.
Rashid Shaheed.
Okay.
I don't know.
He seems like
he's
a
a
safer
gamer.
play because he's just done it
Because
pretty
he
consistently.
was doing well. Like this isn't like a 1 week thing.
So should I? The league I want. Oh god dang it! The league
What's
I
the
have all
most-
my
what's the
seconds. I
most-
already have Puka Nacua. I was like, should I trade a second for him?
What's the most you're trading for Rashid Shaheed? Like if you wanted to buy him, like what, like a mid second?
Listen. If you really want to buy him, a late second like that might
Late
get done in
second?
some leagues.
I have him in our home league. I wouldn't trade him for a late second.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd want what, like a mid early,
Yeah.
like 204,
Yeah.
205.
And then Puka, I just offered
don't
a
blame
second
you.
and a third for. So
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I just wanted to give him a shout out. He's a
but
beast.
yeah, I think that is it for season 4, episode 1. So I'll let you close this out here, Frank. It's kind of you.
Yep. Made it
thing.
this far. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you next